CFB Matrix on the New Belgium Fat Tower Hotline. Bartoo, good morning, buddy. How are you?
Good morning. Hey, I'm finally feeling decent after a couple of days of steroids and antibiotics for this pneumonia thing.
Dude, what are you doing getting pneumonia? What's wrong with you?
It's 100-hour work weeks in October. October, I just learned, is hell month. And thank goodness, though. Yesterday made everybody stay late, and the last of the harvest is done. The crews are gone, and life gets back to semi-normal, which I am very, very excited about.
Farmer Bartoo on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. College football playoff rankings. Did you have it right, and what surprised you, if anything?
Well, first of all, let me set the reminder to everybody. These rankings are like fairies and leprechauns, and Charlie Weiss returning to coaching, and the Big 12 having a shot at the playoffs this year. It's not real, okay? None of this matters. And my favorite part about the whole rankings is how the playoff committee trolled Washington and A&M. Like, they actually believe if both of them win out, it's going to stay the same. That's funny. I tweeted out last night, you probably saw it, the first 8, I felt, my best guess based on what I knew with margin of victory and quality wins and so forth and undefeated teams. Alabama was right. Everybody had that. Michigan was right. Everybody had that. Clemson was right. Everybody had that. Now, I had A&M 5, which I think was a little bit outside the lines of what most people were talking about anyways. But I can see where A&M, they have A&M above Washington right now. A&M has more quality wins. They got a good margin of victory. This gave the committee a chance to, you remember last night, what did they talk about? Ooh, A&M's strength of schedule is much better than Washington's. Jesus. Back to that strength of schedule crap again, but it gave him a way to stand up on the big old strength of schedule soapbox, blah, 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 blah. And then 6, 7, and 8, I figured it was going to be Ohio State, Wisconsin, Louisville. Now, I will admit, I thought Wisconsin was a one-loss team. I didn't remember they had lost 2 games. But remember what we've talked about on your show, is the playoff committee loves to keep their backup option as close as possible. Okay, so when you look at the Big Ten, here's the reason why Wisconsin and Ohio State are right there. Not only they're good teams, but they're still competing for the Big Ten title, which, as we know right now, is the playoff committee's second favorite conference. Okay, so you have that. So you have that clustered close together. And if you notice, how many people went, oh my God, I can't believe how high Auburn was ranked or how high LSU was ranked. I think I saw that on Twitter a bit this morning. Guess what? They're still in competition for the conference championship, which is the trump card in all of this. Winning that 13th game, that is your trump card. So you will see them keep teams as close as possible to their number one conference team in case they have to switch, because these people don't like looking dumb. And having to move a team 10, 15, even 5 spaces makes them look like they missed something. So going forward, teams are going to be clustered near each other to make sure the committee has a backup plan that doesn't make them look bad.
Dave Bartoo talking college football playoff rankings on the Out of Bounds Show, ESPN 105.9 The Zone. Follow Bartoo on Twitter at CFB Matrix. It's a fun follow. It'll keep you rolling. Okay. I think Butch Jones right now, I've got to go to that. It may be more interesting than the college football playoff rankings. What did you make of Jones getting Muschamped this week, last week?
Well, actually, I got Muschamp too, okay? Because I will wholly admit, I tried to cheat the Matrix on the pick this week. I did. Tennessee Volunteer fans can blame me for jinxing it, because when I was doing the picks back at the beginning of the year, I come down to Tennessee, South Carolina. Now, Tennessee, I had them ranked, I think it was 15th in the country for talent. And I had South Carolina as 20th. Well, where's this game played at? It's played at South Carolina. that's a win for South Carolina, right? I mean, if it's Team A versus Team B, 15 versus 20 on the road, average coaching, you go with the home team. I should have picked South Carolina. And both coaches, Butch Jones, negative coach effect. Will Muschamp, very, very, very negative coach effect. I cheated. And the rule is you don't take another negative coach effect guy, no matter how bad the other guy is. But I hate Will Muschamp's numbers so much. I took Tennessee because I figured if he's going to lose one, it should be that one. So Tennessee fans, I will absorb your wrath. But it's not that big of a surprise. It really shouldn't be. So South Carolina put it together at home. Butch Jones on the season is still +1. He's still +1. Now, I think the bigger picture that's being missed here, it's not the South Carolina game. And you want to know why everybody's pissed they lost to South Carolina? Would they be pissed if it was Steve Spurrier they lost to?
Oh, that's a great point, because it's Muschamp. Yeah.
Exactly. It's not because they lost to South Carolina. It's not because they lost on the road. It's not because they lost the conference game. It's because they lost to Will freaking Muschamp. That's what's psychologically pissing them off. Okay? But here's the bigger thing. Take a step back, Bo. Okay? This Tennessee team, where would they be without some unreal luck? They should not have beat Georgia at all. Okay? So now we're at even coach effect. And wasn't there another game they won in a Hail Mary? I think there was another game they pulled out of the fire. So realistically, this team is luckily 2 games ahead of where it should be. Now, when you look at the big picture, when you look at the overall performance, not just the win-loss record, not just through the matrix, when you look at, and this is kind of how I explain the Ducks this year, is that, no, they were 9-4 last year, yeah, but it was a terrible 9-4 because one player, when he was gone, the rest of the team fell apart. So this Tennessee team, it's not the losing to South Carolina that these fans should be worried about. They should be worried that they're lucky to be where they're at right now, and there's no reason they should be there.
Yeah, and, of course, the rest of their schedule really lines up. Tennessee Tech at home, Kentucky at home, Mizzou at home, at Vanderbilt. That's about as good as it gets for Butch Jones. Dave?
Oh, yeah, it should be 1, 2, 3, 4, right?
Yeah.
4-0, bang. And that's 9-3. And that's exactly, when it came on the show, that's exactly where we said they'd be. 9-3. Not a national championship contender, not even really a playoff contender, a contender for the SEC East, and that's about it. But I think they need new blood at offensive coordinator, and they certainly need a new quarterback.
What else in coaching effect jumped out at you over the weekend? Dave Bartoo, CFB Matrix on the Out of Bounds show.
Actually, something, I had a really, really, really good weekend on the picks from March. My upset alerts, there was 15 of them where Vegas and I were different. 7 of them were correct, like your Oklahoma State, almost got Virginia, got the Notre Dame, etc. But, the line was covered by the underdog 12 of 15 times. That's what really stood out for me.
Wow.
It's like, holy moly, 12 and 3 against the spread for upset alert picks. That was great. So that number is huge on the year. But what I'm finding this year is there's just not a lot of consistent good coaching. And I think this also goes back to when you look at the college playoff ranks, look at all those teams up there. Nobody's really even consistent elite. Alabama's been there. Michigan's been there. Clemson has not been consistent. Shoot, they're as lucky as Tennessee. North Carolina guys should have just walked out there drunk, kicked the field goal, boom. Clemson has 1 loss. Louisville, everybody has a big old, everybody loves Louisville, but Louisville struggled. They haven't blown there hasn't been any consistency in coaching this season. I still think the best job so far, the best job of coaching in the Power Fives has been at Wisconsin with Chris. I think he's done the best job overall. You're talking about a Kentucky-level recruiter. That's where they're at. Okay, that's almost exactly where they're at. They are Kentucky. They brought in a new defensive coordinator. Great hire by Alvarez, who's probably calling plays from the coaching box during the game anyways.
I was about to say.
Exactly. So that's the one that is really consistently, of all the teams that have been from start to finish with lesser talent, I think that have been really consistent this year, It's been Christ at Wisconsin, which I can't understand because he was anything but that at Pitt. On the Group of Five side, by far and away the best effort for coaching is Satake at BYU. No question about it. He's done absolutely the best job, probably overall in all of college football, especially considering it's his first year.
Ah, okay. Can you believe Gundy is? Can you believe that one of the powers has never really tried to just stack up the cash and go get Mike Gundy at Oklahoma State, Bartoo?
I don't know. The party in the back might be freaking him all out. These super old rich billionaires just may not like the mullet too much, so that might be scaring him off. And I've you know how it is. Where there's smoke, there's fire. And how many times have we heard Gundy does not get along with the boosters? He doesn't play the booster game.
Right.
And so you and I both know the booster game is a key to the puzzle. It's part of a well-oiled machine. You've got to play that game. And
unless you're Saban.
Not willing. Well, he plays the game with them. He brings them championships. Well, there's no game to play there because they're pacified because it's ring after ring after ring, right? Mm. And there's something deep down inside that tells me when he got to Alabama, he sat down with everybody and said, here's everything I need to win titles. Now never talk to me again. And that was about it. No. Well, there's got to be a plan there somewhere, Bo. I know it sounds funny, but think about it. This guy, the best recruiting classes ever at LSU were while Nick was there. Nick, when he went to Alabama, and people have probably long since forgotten this, okay? The average class Alabama had the 4 years before he showed up was number 16 in the country, okay? Which isn't bad. That's a really nice. But to go from 4 years average of 16 to perennially number one is ridiculous. There wasn't even a gradual build. It was like falling off a cliff. Bam, you're number one recruiter. There's no way he walks in and doesn't have his entire recruiting plan laid out, the entire process laid out, and tells everybody exactly what needs to be done, from athletic directors and mascots all the way up to the boosters. It wouldn't surprise me if he just said, here's what needs to be done. If you do this, we're going to be great. And that was that. And so I don't know how he interacts with the boosters, but he's got to have some sort of relationship with them to be able to do what he's doing.
Huh. Okay.
No. I mean, there's got to be something there. You can't ignore Alabama boosters and do what he's doing. You can't do that.
Maybe. I don't.
Maybe.
I don't think he interacts with them. I do agree with you that he sat down and met with them and said, "This is what I have to have," early.
Yeah.
And then get out of my way. I do agree with that. All right, we'll leave it there. I hope you feel better. Enjoyed the conversation. Be good, buddy.
All right, take it easy, Bo. Thank you.
Dave Bartoo at CFB Matrix on Twitter. Straight ahead, the hot garbage